Hi, welcome to R+B Chats. I'm Sarah Broughton, principal
Morning.
at Roland & Broughton, and I am so excited to have Elena Scott with Norris Design here with me today. Hi, Elena.
Good morning, Sarah.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having me.
Where
I'm
are
doing
you today?
well.
Looks like you're at home. You're very patriotic with your flag in the background.
Flag goes. Oh yeah, it looks like we are. I have two kids, so they love to decorate. They're ready for the 4th of July. But yes, I
Perfect.
am at home in Frisco, Colorado, and our studio is open here in town, but I'm still at home this morning because it's nice and quiet here.
Great. Well, thanks for being with me.
Yeah.
And we were just talking how it's been amazing over the last few months. You and I have had the opportunity to be talking a lot and really supporting each other.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate that with you, and I'm excited to have this chat with you today. So
Me too.
Elena is an amazing planner and landscape architect, and we have had the good fortune of collaborating on several projects together in Summit County. And so for that, we feel very lucky. You are part of Norris Design. You have 8 studios across the country, and you're involved with a variety of projects. What do you see as the next evolution for landscape design and planning? And what are you all discussing currently within Norris Design?
Great question. So I'd say our company as a whole, before the pandemic started, one of the big things that we've been focusing on is our integrated design process. At Norris Design, we have landscape architecture, planning, and branding. So we have an in-house branding team that is incredible in how they think about, really empathetically a user journey and how that's going to impact the design of the site, the plan of the site, and how we want everything to tie back to a vision. And so our integrated design process is something that we've been utilizing, and really we've been doing that, for as long as I've been at Norris. But we now have a better way that we're talking about it and engaging it with real experts in-house that can provide those solutions for our clients. So that's been super cool. On the side of what we're dealing with right now in landscape architecture and planning, the future of the public realm and how that is going to change and shift. We've seen, we started doing parklets and parking day many years ago. And so a lot of those ideas that we started doing many years ago in downtown now became solutions for restaurants and businesses to maintain a higher occupancy during the pandemic, for example. So giving people that okay to reclaim public space for people and for chairs and tables and interaction rather than just for cars, and helping to influence that locally has been really fun. But I think that what'll be great in the future, especially in working with our awesome architecture partners like you and the team at Roland Broughton, is that it's that space where the public and private realm come together, and especially in more urban situations where it's going to be so important to look at those stoops, look at the ways, the interactions, the building, the ebb and flow with the sidewalk and the amount of space that we have there, and how that feels safe and comfortable for people. But ultimately, we'll just create a better streetscape solution that looks better, feels better, and it's really like, the building and the site flow in and out together and work to this new environment we're in. And then lastly, I would say that, just having a diversity of project types has always been really important to us, and learning from those different, what you learned from like a hospitality project, for example, can sometimes be applied, at a larger scale in the community you're designing with a beautiful community center. Or we're working on this lake house, actually for one of our projects here in Silverthorne with Summit Sky Ranch. So, being able to apply different things and tools that you learn on different types of projects keeps us motivated and always learning.
There was an interesting op-ed in the New York Times on Sunday about the changing landscape that's happening, especially in
Mm-hmm.
environments. And we, have become so car centric. And so
Yep.
what's really exciting is we're taking back the streets.
Yep.
And so hopefully, this is something that will stick. and will become
Mm-hmm.
something that remains permanent within our environments. And
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be such an urban center. We're seeing it here in Aspen, and I know in Frisco and Breckenridge as well.
Mm-hmm.
So super
Yeah.
interesting.
And so, shifting from that, okay, some of our local governments are willing to try it, and now it's going to need to continue to evolve into this balanced conversation with property owners and business owners, and continuing to make sure that people feel like they're being heard and supported. And I think it's also it's evolution, right? Like a lot of people are still in this mindset that a lot of places are drive-to places or drive-by places, and they're not. Like some places are now destinations. You don't have to be so reliant on a parking space being right in front of your business in order to succeed. But how do we continue to train and change the mindset of folks that are there and still think that that's how I get foot traffic in my door? And so I think that's our next real challenge, is trying to navigate those conversations and help local municipalities, especially, stay the course and find solutions for that, rather than just saying, okay, screw it, we're just putting it back.
Right.
And that's where I find myself now, in trying to help with that conversation.
Well, it is so important as landscape architects, planners, architects to be involved with policy. And I was filling out something about my own personal professional goals, and that was one of my goals, is to really be involved with policy change, because that's
Mm-hmm.
really get sticky with these amazing evolutions. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, as we mentioned, we've had some great conversations over the years, definitely also in the last few months, about resiliency and confidence. One of the things I love about you is you are a self-professed lover of public speaking. Not everyone can say that. So with that, and your great ability to do that, and we've definitely presented together before. How are you adapting to a new way of public outreach and consensus building? So much of it is about listening and getting input from multiple stakeholders, and that's evolving right now. So what are you doing to adapt?
Sure. So with public speaking, I'll start there first. It's important when you're now doing hearings online or leading a focus group meeting of people that have input into a project, or even just with a client and consulting team. I think being really clear about the agenda for the day, no, that sounds lame. Really clear about what your hopeful outcomes are for each conversation and meeting, and also letting people understand when, how the conversation is going to flow back to agenda. Like, this is how we're going to do this, and make sure that everybody has a chance to speak. And in some ways, online, it's because you can look and see exactly who's there and see their name. It's better. It can be a better way to get everybody to speak up if they have, potentially maybe a question to answer. And so I think that we know that online engagement isn't going to go away anytime soon. So, we've been investing in some innovative tools for online engagement. We created a virtual community meeting room, which is really cool for a different way for people to interact in a familiar setting. And we've also, we've led Zoom calls of over 200 people. So there's, there is a way to do it. And I think that listening is big, communication is big, having those clear, boring logistical items prepared of how we're gonna do this. But also thinking outside the box. We have an outside public meeting tonight, and the town has shut down a block. We'll have it set up so that there's never more than 10 people in one space. No one touches anything. Everybody will be in their masks, and we'll probably get some really good tan lines. But it will be a good, I think, new way to look at how we move forward with this. But and just another thing I've learned about public speaking over the years, especially in dealing not only in controversial entitlements, but with just being a leader of our firm with 8 studios nationally and being a managing partner, it's really important to understand how people communicate and hear things differently. And that's one of the things I really study is how different people heard the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fascinating to start looking at that and thinking then every time I listen to people, I think about how they heard something, and then it helps me better deliver on what I'm trying to say in the future. So, I mean, it's really taking listening to the next level. My nerdy fun fact for Friday.
No, it's super interesting because it is amazing. You know, everyone is going to hear it differently. So really being hyper aware of that, makes you excel as a public speaker.
Right. One other, thing, someone told me this a long time ago. He said, who was it? I can't remember. He said, are you listening to understand, or are you listening to respond? And so that's been a mantra of mine also for a long time. And I like to spread that knowledge because it's, especially in entitlements and dealing in the public, if you're listening to understand, then you're going to do better and create better solutions than if you're listening to respond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I'm going to use that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It's awesome. I did get on your virtual community room with Norris Design on your website, and it's a really amazing tool. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. All in house, so it's easily adaptable. And that project that's in there is the graphics we've created for the city of Avondale outside of Phoenix are pretty amazing. It's like everything we've done. We even thought about going inside one of the buildings in the model. Like, what if you went into the model, into the inside of the model? And we were like, that's taking it too far, but we could.
That's great. Well, as we know, so much is changing, and we're talking a lot about this change. How are you changing as a designer and leader?
Well, we've talked about this, you and I, that there's so much uncertainty out there. And so we have to be patient. We have to be adaptable and flexible, and we have to have more empathy than we usually would have in some of these. And, as women that, run businesses, we have to run a business and be good listeners and empathetic to how people are doing at the same time. And so I believe that I've learned a lot over just the past, I think we're on week 15 since we got sent home. But even before that, I think I've been changing as a designer and leader by just really, I think, leaning into great partnerships, like our partnership with Broughton and Broughton, and really thinking about how you're creating, an innovative solution that's going to work for the developer, for the city, for the town, for the end user, who really is, the most important person. It's how is someone going to engage with the space and be comfortable here and feel connected to what we're trying to connect them to, connected to the vision or the view or their icy cold beer in their hand, whatever in that moment that they can be. So I don't know that I've really changed significantly. I felt more leaned into strengths that I already have, and especially leaned into friends and partners that are leaders in the design and planning industry, because there's no playbook for what we're doing right now, and we're having to manage in these times and lead in these times. And part of it is having some confidence that you are making good decisions, but also being that vulnerable leader, channeling the inner Brene Brown and acknowledging that you don't have all the answers, and that but you're confident that we're gonna figure it out, and that we're just gonna keep doing what we do.
Yeah, it's so true. I talked to a mutual client of ours the other day, and he said something really interesting. He's like, it's almost like we're learning how to be happy again. He was like, Sarah, when you're 5, you're happy, right? And then you spend the rest of your life like kind of undoing that, like, right? Finding all these ways to become unhappy. And so I just loved that. He's like, and even talk about patience and happiness and how to really lean in on that. I love that. And another thing that, I've been sharing with our team is your positivity is a habit. And so, and it's a very important habit to, especially
Mm-hmm.
you as a leader, it's imperative.
Yep.
And so, really, really just honoring that. And sometimes that's all you can be that day, is just being the positive person in the room. And that is what people need. I
Yep.
know I need that. I glean a lot from that. That's why I love our talks, because it's always filled with hope and optimism and
Yep.
happiness. So,
It
Elena,
has to be.
thank you so much for your time today. Good luck
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
in your public meeting tonight. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Thanks. I'll send you a photo.
Please do. And thank you so much. Keep kicking ass.
You
And
too.
we'll talk soon. Bye. And
Sounds good. Bye.
thank you for being part of our chat, and bye from R+B Chats.
Bye.